Welcome back, guys. You have made it. We have made it to another episode of Best in Show Books. I'm Shelby.
I'm Jeanna.
We're here at Naughty Dog Books, an independent bookstore in Nashville, Indiana. And today is a very on-theme episode. I have been looking forward to it for quite a while.
Yeah.
Jeanna's going to give you a nice quote that will kind of give you a clue as to what today's episode will be about.
I am in a sea of wonders. I doubt. I fear. I think strange things, which I dare not confess to my own soul. It's from Dracul.
Dracul. So today we are talking all things spooky reads.
Yeah.
We've got a lot. I
Yeah.
didn't even count how many.
We have lots.
A lot.
We kept adding.
Yeah, we kept adding. And because we didn't want to just pigeonhole it into like super dark, scary. So we do have some historical fiction that leans a little spookier.
Yeah.
We have some like lighter. I added a few like heartfelt kind of spooky stories. Jeanna, of all people, added a gory spooky story. So like they're all over the place.
I did, yeah.
So it's going to be a really fun episode. And do you read many scary things?
You know, I don't know that I really think I do, but making this list, I'm like, I have a tendency to lean toward vampires. I admit that. But in my heart of hearts, I think vampires are romantic. So I forget they're spooky.
Yeah.
So I guess I've learned that I like a certain horror, classic, spooky, very much like House on Haunted. I always say this wrong.
By Shirley Jackson?
Yes.
The Haunting of Hill House?
Yes. Like those kind of things. I guess I do like that more than I think I do.
Yeah.
So I know you do.
I do. I love spooky things.
Yeah.
But I think it's got to be, for me, a very particular type of spooky. You know, I don't really lean towards gore or something that is like super demonic, you know, and like super dark like that. I like a ghost story.
Yes.
That's my favorite. And I also really appreciate something unique. And so several of the books I included today were scary, but one of the reasons I liked them so well is that they were so different from other things on the market. And when I read them, I was like, wow, I've never read anything like this. So,
and I think working here and with you, I've leaned more into.
Oh, Jeanna, you flatter me.
I do. I've learned to expand. I like that. I like expanding what I read, and I think that's through the years you find that you don't always like. I'm not pigeonholed.
Yeah,
you know, like I like different things, so I'm expanding some of the authors I've read and some of the book genres. So it's been fun, and the book boxes help.
Yeah, that's true. And I think spooky, scary horror gets a bad rap.
Yes.
I think it has a really bad reputation of, you know, people, which, you know, you could be watching this and be like, I don't like that. And that's more power to you. But I think when people do that and they think that all horror is the same, all spooky books are the same, that's so not true, you know, because there are so many different tropes, just like with any other genre, you know, there are totally different kinds of stories. And so we're going to hit on a lot of those today.
Yes. I'm excited to delve right into it.
Jeanna even wore her nice vampire Undertaker shirt.
I did.
I'm here for it. It looks great. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Jeanna, very nice.
Well, we're doing spooky, so I had to go black.
Yeah.
I told Shelby, I was like, I hope I don't look like the Undertaker this morning. Like, it was not too far.
It's in a good way.
It's in a good way. I have fun sleeves. Does that count?
That's also very Undertaker. Yeah.
Very Victorian.
Yes.
Very Victorian.
Yeah.
So we'll delve into this here in a minute. According to the list, I'm first.
Go ahead.
Is that okay?
Kick us off, Jeanna.
So we're going to start with something called The Historian, and it's by Elizabeth Kostova. It is a book about Dracula, but it's not about Dracula. It's about the historians, a group of people who delve into the history of Vlad the Impaler, and they want to find him and keep track of him because they believe that he still exists, he's real, he is creating vampires, but he's more than Dracula, the story. And so it starts with a young woman who's in college, and she finds her father's papers and notebooks and realizes he was a historian. So she wants to travel the world over where Vlad the Impaler was from, and she meets all kinds of people. It's set in, I think, about the 50s and 60s. And so you get some history of the world then because of the way I learned a lot about how World War II shaped the countries during that time and what travel was like. I learned a lot about the history of Vlad the Impaler, which just speaks right to my vampire heart. And I learned a lot about what Vlad the Impaler was like as a person and how he became Dracula or how he became a vampire and why these people believe he still exists and the lore and the legends.
Do you mean how he became, like how the real person became
Yes.
the legend of Dracula?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
How he actually became a vampire because
Okay.
he was a good person who was fighting for his
The
king.
Impaler?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
no, sorry. No. There's two lores that go along with that.
Right.
So Vlad the Impaler becomes very evil with
Right.
like
Makes
how
sense.
yes. But there was a legend of the land being stolen and how you sell your soul and like there's a lot more. This is a heavy book, like, and I legitimately heavy. It's like a thick book. It's an academic book. It's hard to explain. Read it. It's really like the history of you following the history of the historians following the history of Vlad the Impaler who becomes Dracula.
So it's like not, although it is included on your spooky list, it's probably not horror.
No.
Okay.
You get the spooky side of them following him and him appearing in ancient libraries and maybe peeking through the curtains or so it's a lighter spooky, but it's historical. And it always amazes me when people say if you've read Dracula you need to read this because I feel like it's in that same vein.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds interesting.
There's that.
Yeah.
We started off with an odd one, I know, but it's not heavy horror.
Yeah.
It's not heavy spooky. It can go very historical fiction or thriller as much as it is the legend and lore of Dracula. So
that's a good one. And I think we also, this wasn't formally on our list, but
No.
we should, goes without saying, Dracula
Oh, absolutely.
by Bram Stoker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's one that I am rereading this fall.
So good.
And it is so good. I'm only like 60 pages in, but just the way that he was able to create like this intense sense of like dread.
Yes.
And it is a masterpiece.
It
like,
really
it's
is.
so good.
It really is. And again, I think it's a love story. I find that because Mina and Jonathan and then Dracula, like in his love story at the beginning, it's a love story to me. It's a horror-ish love story, but it's a love story.
There's a new Dracula movie coming out.
Yes.
It came out, I think, in France. Yeah, it came out, right? It came out in Europe just a few weeks ago from filming, but it hits the United States on Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, I told you.
And yesterday, my husband was like, Nate Bargatze, the comedian, is coming to Indianapolis, and he was like, we should go with some friends on Valentine's Day. And I was like, we have plans on Valentine's Day. This new Dracula movie looks so good. I am like, I feel like people don't go to the movies anymore, you know, and the movie people know that. And they're really pulling me back into the movies. I'm like,
that's what I'll go for.
It's October, and I'm looking forward to a February movie.
Okay. That's okay, because I can't wait to. I was disappointed that it wasn't going to be here this fall.
I know. Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh, that would have been a great.
But Valentine's Day is
I told you, it's romantic.
I can. And I heard that this story, the movie, is different from the actual story because it's not going to be like Jonathan Harker. It is like focusing on him. And he is waiting like 400 years for his love to come back. It looks so good. It looks so good.
You guys, it's a romance.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
But if the movie comes out and we hate it, we are allowed to do that because we haven't seen it yet, so we can't attest to it.
We're going off of trailers only.
Yeah.
And very few trailers. I think I've seen the same one maybe twice. I've not seen any more than the one.
I've seen it about 100 times.
Well, there you go. But I've only seen the one. I've not seen more than one
Yeah.
trailer. So unfortunately, we're going off of that, and it looks really good from the trailer. So, all right.
does.
So are we leaving the world of vampires? Oh, bats.
Even, yeah. Dracula.
So there's been some heavy discussion on vampires and Draculas. Are we sticking in that same vein, or are we doing something different in your book?
No. Next one, we are going to go kind of, if you are familiar with the horror genre, a Midsommar, Blair Witch Project kind of feel.
Okay.
And stick with me on this one. It was The Lost Village by Camilla Sten.
Oh.
And while I think it's horror, I did see it classified as a thriller several places, but I felt like it was so unsettling that it was horror to me. So thus my inclusion. The main character in The Lost Village is a filmmaker, and her name is Alice, and she has been obsessed with this like mining village that people call the Lost Village since this thing happened in the 50s. And during this thing, it was like 1959, and her grandmother's family disappeared in this tragedy, and the whole town was like left empty, abandoned, and the only people who survived were a young woman who was stoned to death and a newborn baby. So it's like a very weird, nobody knows what's going on. So she wants to bring her documentary like film crew to see what it's like now, see if they can figure out what happened, piece together clues, which kind of gets you that like Blair Witch Project feel. And let me tell you, this was spooky. Like, this was the first book I've read by her, Camilla Sten, and I think it's the best that I've read because I've read several others at this point. And it was just so visual. Like, even now, years later, I can envision them walking through like this town and kind of remembering where some of the buildings were and how there are like windows up there. And it's like, did I see something in the window? Oh no, surely not. Or like exploring a building and then there's like a above them. So it was really good. It was very well done. And the way that she kind of pulled out this sense of dread and spookiness, I really liked it. And this is one that I love to recommend to customers. It is great and very unsettling.
So it's like a ghost town. Like, you walk in and it's just
kind
empty.
of, yeah.
Like, it's just abandoned.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Which is eerie in and of itself,
absolutely.
Wherever. And this took place in like Norway or Sweden or something like that. So you do get some of those cultural like aspects in it, but it was really good. And I remember the ending was, some of the particulars were kind of, I don't want to say gritty. But I was like, ooh. So it's definitely not for like a lighthearted gal, like not me. So, but it was really good, and I think it is an excellent spooky Nordic. That's the word I was looking for. Nordic, like spooky.
Because I feel like we've read other books that were in that Norway, Sweden that have that spooky feel to it. The one about where the people go to the island and the house, they're renovating it, and
that's a different one author, but yes. That was I Remember You by Ursa Sigurdardóttir, I think.
Good job, because I would
put it up here.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a book club pick, and then a former box pick was actually by her. The one, it took place in a snowstorm. I will also put it up here, and it's got a purplish cover, and it had a house on the front. It was a January box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I wondered because the name sounded familiar, but I was like, I couldn't put a title to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So her books are good.
Yes.
That was The Lost Village by Camilla Sten, a Nordic spooky story, sure to keep you up at night. Gina, what's your next one?
It's not Blair Witch, but it might be a witch.
Okay, that counts.
So Hester by Laurie, Lico, Albanese. And this is a historical fiction. So, and it's set in the early 1800s. So even though it's about the Salem witch trials, it's kind of the after. So we're 1800s, and she starts in Scotland and then moves to the United States, into New England, to that Salem area. So we have a young girl, and Hester is not her name. Just tricky there. So it's Isabel. Isabel is a needle worker. She does like really fine work with the needle. She uses colors. She can make patterns. She's just very talented. And when she's in Scotland, she has learned this from generations of family that are needle workers. And she marries a man who is an apothecary. And he turns out to be not the best at his job. And obviously becomes a addict of his own product.
Oh, mercy.
So they get into some trouble, and they have to leave, and he takes a job on a ship, and they end up in the New World, in Salem. Because of his issues, he says he's trying to pull it together. He takes this job very seriously on this ship, and he leaves Salem and goes abroad with the ship and the captain as the ship doctor, if you will. And Isabel is left in Salem. But not only is she just left in Salem alone, this jerk of a doctor steals her money that she had been saving that would have kept her safe through the winter alone, So now she has to procure a job as a needle worker for somebody else. And so she's doing her best to survive. But she meets Nathaniel Hawthorne, a young Nathaniel Hawthorne. And he is still reeling from the fact that his family had something to do with the Salem witch trials. So you get the history of the Salem witch trials, how it still affects the community and the world over there in that area, and Nathaniel Hawthorne's connection to it before he writes the Scarlet Letter. Well, there's an affair between the two of them because she thinks her husband is Edward, I think is his name, completely has abandoned her. Right. He's never come back. I mean, it's been like a year and he's never come back. And so there's also the ship's captain that plays into it. That's kind of, I don't know. In my head, he's cute. So he helps her, though. He helps her kind of find a living and get settled and try to survive. So you have this beautiful story. It is historic. It is, what kind of powers does the needlework have? Does she have some powers with the colors? You get also some underground railroad, because you have like they're moving slaves in and out. It is a whole thing. There's people that watch in the woods and you don't know who it is. You get the spook. So there's spooky aspect to it because of the Salem witch trials, because of Hester maybe being the child, the love child. There's a whole lot to this book. It was our October pick for Historical Fiction Book Club last year.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we all really enjoyed it. And this was our way of connecting history with some of the spooky feel for the holiday, being the Salem witch trials. So I really liked it. It's a great book.
Yeah.
It's a really
and
good
it's
book.
a good option, if you want something fall and you're just kind of teetering on the edge. You know, you don't want to be scared, but you want like atmosphere.
Yes, it's an atmospheric. Definitely more atmosphere than actual scare.
Yeah. But we counted it because the Salem witch trials, that's spooky.
It is. And it is. And you do get a lot of that. They do talk about the trials. He really delves into the fact of what his family did and not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alice Hoffman,
yes,
a few years ago wrote a book, and the name is escaping me. And the girl had red hair on the front. Did you read that one?
I did not.
And it was about a girl who, like, she was escaping a cult, modern day cult.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was a cult. And she somehow goes back in time to Nathaniel Hawthorne, and he was like a total babe. I just could not get behind that. I was like,
that's the third telling of somebody talking about Nathaniel Hawthorne being a hottie, because the the one we did for historical fiction. Oh, she was the best read woman of the time.
Margaret Fuller.
Margaret Fuller. She kind of was like, ooh,
Finding Margaret Fuller.
Yes, Finding Margaret Fuller. She was like, ooh, he's cute. Like, he lives next door to her house that she's staying in. And they're all talking about him like he's just this really cutie pie. And I'm like, who would have thought?
Did you ever look up? You probably did. You're a researcher.
Yeah,
what does he look like?
Not what they described.
Okay, in my head, he looks like Poe.
No.
Like dark hair.
No, he's not quite that. He's just thin. I guess back then he probably would have been nice looking. He's that writer look. Okay. Like that, not swashbuckler.
Yeah.
Dracula.
They weren't into that.
Yeah, like you could see it, like the academic look. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I should not, I'm going to dig myself a hole right here.
Just go look up Nathaniel Hawthorne. Make your own Nathaniel Hawthorne
Find out why
judgments.
They all thought he was just the babe.
Okay.
So we have a seamstress in my story, but I have a feeling there's a seamstress maybe in your next one.
We did not plan this at all.
No, we did not.
I mean, we planned our books, but we didn't coordinate this. And so when you were talking like seamstress, I was like, oh my gosh, my next book is about a seamstress. So leaving Nathaniel Hawthorne, total babe, behind, my next book is The Poison Thread by Laura Purcell. And if you have been around here for a while, you have heard me wax poetic about Laura Purcell. I love her books, and I think nobody, I hope you're watching this, Laura. I feel like nobody writes like her. Nobody writes these stories. I just could literally go on and on about her. So The Poison Thread was actually the first one I read by her, and probably is still my favorite by her. I've read all of them, and honestly, I would recommend them all. They're very different in their spookiness.
Okay.
So The Poison Thread. you have kind of two main characters. One is Dorothea Truelove, which is an excellent Victorian name. It's
I
like
love the name.
Dorothea Truelove. And then the other one is Ruth Butterham, which those are good names. Okay.
Perfect.
Off to a great start. So Dorothea is young. She is wealthy. She is kind of a society gal. And Ruth Butterham is poor. She is a maid, and she is actually on trial for murder.
Ooh.
So Dorothea's charity work takes her to the prison where Ruth is.
Okay.
And Dorothea's interest is phrenology, like the study of the skull, and back in time when they used to think like you can tell a criminal's dispositions by the
bumps on their head.
by the shape of their skull. And so she is here working under that theory, and she gets to talk to Ruth, and Ruth is convinced that she has killed people with, wait for it, her needle and thread.
Oh.
So she believes that she has committed murder with her needle and thread. And it is kind of a supernatural like power in her stitches. That sounds kind of reductive, but the story was so compelling. And I don't want to give any away because I want you to read it. Mm-hmm. But the story of Ruth's tale, and then Dorothea meeting her. And then also there are things going on in Dorothea's life to where she's like, wait a minute, is Ruth right? Like, is this a real, like, could this be real? And so it was a great Victorian Gothic tale. Loved it.
So is it like the, what do you call it? Voodoo, like where they can poke pins?
No.
Okay. No. Okay.
Not voodoo.
Okay.
No.
So not that kind of needle and thread where you're.
No. Okay. Like stitches. Like she is.
Actual. Okay.
Yeah. She like gets a job as like a seamstress.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a teenager. She's a seamstress. And she becomes convinced that she can do some supernatural things with her needle and thread.
Okay.
So it's like, is Ruth mad? Is she crazy? Is she really a murderer? Is she not a murderer?
Okay.
Is Dorothea crazy for believing her? Does she believe her? You know, it's so good.
I have to read that one. That one sounds really good.
Yeah. You would like it, especially, I didn't realize Hester had kind of that seamstress tie-in, so I bet you would like it.
Yeah, because I think with Hester, she talked about the colors, and being that you think Puritan time of gray, like the colors were a big thing. Like, who is she? Like, why does she think these colors need to be? So they could tie in really well together. I don't know how we do it, but we do it every time.
It does tie in really well. Details are coming back to me, and wowza. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, you guys. I do have a thing for vampires, so here we go. Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. And this book is different. It's a different kind of vampire. Mm-hmm. It is historical, which I thought it's historical, it's romance, it's horror, it's thriller. It covered and checked all the boxes.
It was so good.
One of the best books I have read in a while. It's written so well. I was captured from the moment I started it. I didn't want to put it down, and I was sad when it was over. It was, I wasn't sad how it ended, but I was sad when it was over because I liked the people. I liked the story. It is set in the 1840s in Mexico, but it's the Mexican-American wartime. So you get I'm going to say the Mexican cowboys because I cannot say any of these beautiful Mexican words that were in this book, the Spanish words. They were beautiful. I learned a lot about Spanish. I learned a lot about the lore of the the Mexican world. So Nina and Nestor are the two main characters of this book. Nina is the daughter of the landowner, where Nestor is a vaqueros. They're cowboy. They work in the world of the landowner. And Nina, they're young when the book starts, and they have this great relationship. They're like best friends, but it's going to be a forbidden thing because she's the landowner's daughter and he's the peon, which they actually call them peons, which I thought was a little...
Yeah, come on, leave Nestor alone.
I know. So, but while they're out one evening in the dark, under the moonlight, searching for treasure, because what else do you do when you're teenagers and in love, right?
Oh, it's all coming back to me. Keep going.
She read it too. So Nina is attacked, and it's this vicious attack by this gruesome creature. Nestor doesn't know what it is. He's trying to fight it off, Nestor saves her, he takes her, or he rescues her. He takes her to the home and he lays her down on the ground and everybody comes along and they're saying, my daughter's dead, my daughter's dead. Nestor totally flips out. He cannot think of life without Nina. He thinks they're going to blame him, so he runs off. And then the next level of the story begins after he comes back because these creatures or something is attacking the other people on the ranches. You've got this whole thing with the Mexicans trying to fight for their land, and they don't know what's happening. They don't know if the Texas Rangers are attacking them, but something is causing this susto, which is this fever that takes over the people, and it's like their soul separates from their body. Well, when Nestor comes home, he finds Nina wasn't dead. She had survived. So you've got you left me, I thought you were dead, nobody communicated. Mm-hmm. And then you have this adventure that goes. It is a beautiful love story. I mean, the telling of this was just fantastic. When you get to the author's notes, she talks about the vampire lore from Mexico. And it was actually in print and talked about before Bram Stoker wrote Dracula.
Really?
Yes. So the vampires are more creature-like than, I've been bitten by Dracula human-like. And so that really is a different kind of vampire in this.
It was so good. Yeah. And I remember reading this several years ago and I thought, it's a lot more romance than I thought it would be. But I was like sold. It was so good. And it was like, it was lyrical.
Yes.
Isabel Cañas, the way she drew the scenery, it was so well done.
Because she talks about the flowers and the trees and the territory. And when there's a battle, she talks about the blood running on the ground and, and the stench and the gunpowder. I mean, like, it's like Gone with the Wind meets vampires.
So
I mean, there's just... It was a fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. I just finished it, so this is really fresh in my mind. And Shelby told me she read it, and I was like, didn't you just love this? And she's like, you're going to love this book. And I'm like, how have I had it on my shelf for a long time and not read it?
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't read it earlier.
It's even got a great, like, sweeping cover.
Oh, it does.
Which gives very Gone with the Wind, like you said.
Yes, she's got the bell dress on and the background of it. It's beautiful. I highly recommend this for a romance reader, a historical reader, and a horror reader because it covers all of them. And I feel like the horror is just enough to make it a spooky read, but the majority of it is the story of Nina and Nestor.
Yeah.
So there's so much to this book. And she does it so well that I don't lose track of any of the characters.
Yeah.
I don't lose track of any of the story. It moves so fast, but it wasn't so fast that I could have kept reading this.
Yeah.
I wanted to know more about it. Like, I'm waiting for, okay, now where are the kids? Where's the next generation? I want to know more.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend this one. Are we leaving romance and vampires again?
The romance is so gone with this next book. So if you have come into the store before and you've spoken to me, I have probably told you about this book, especially if you have been like, what's a good spooky read? This is William by Mason Coile. And this is one that falls into the category of it was so different that I was like, oh my gosh, it was so good. And even just like reliving it now as I prepared for this discussion, so excited. It was so good. So the main character is Henry, and he is an engineer, and he is like super genius, and he is a bit of an agoraphobe.
Oh,
very important. And up in his lab, in his attic, he is kind of building this AI robot guy named William.
Okay.
And William is not done yet. It's like top secret. And Henry's wife is Lily, and Lily's pregnant, and they are having a dinner party, and Lily invites some people over, and creaky truck outside. And so Lily invites some people over for this dinner party, and they're like, we want to meet William. We've heard all about William. And Henry's like, oh no. And the evening just goes from bad to worser than worse.
Okay.
It is just insane. And so they also, because he is really smart, they live in this like smart house that has smart locks and shades that like down, so you can guess like where that kind of goes. And it was such a phenomenal, chilling story. And it ends, I believe, on Halloween.
Oh,
so
of course it does.
I feel like I remember reading it, the ending, and I was like, and just shutting the book. It's such a like mind-blowing story of personhood, AI, fear, and it was really, really super good. This is another one that I think is told well in a smaller package.
It's a small book.
Yeah. Probably, again, less than 300 pages. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it was so good. This is one I remember. I actually read it last year, right before we have like a fall sip and shop event.
Yes.
And so I came in and the whole staff was here and we were decorating the store for Halloween. Yeah. And I was like, everybody come in here.
Yes.
And I was like telling everyone, so listen, this is what happened. And it was just highly recommend. And in other videos, I have actually talked about other books by him because he has one that just came out, The Exiles, and it's got like an orange Mars cover, and there's a spaceman on that. And that is another good book that has to do with like personhood and AI and technology. But I feel like William was spookier. So now it's Gina's turn. And if we think Jeanna has talked about the historian, Vampires of El Norte. We're not counting Hester on this because it doesn't fit the theme. But this next one, is it a vampire story?
Of course it is. I'm sorry, people. This is I do have to admit, I have a thing for vampires. They're very romantic to me. They're very, that's my spooky. That's my spooky. I enjoy it. So this one is Dracul, and it's by Dacre Stoker, which is Bram Stoker's great-grandnephew. And it's supposedly written based on the journals that Bram Stoker left behind. So go with that. So it's kind of a prequel to Bram Stoker's Dracula because it is the story of how Bram met and then eventually wrote Dracul. You can't say it without I
have to say it with an accent.
Yeah. I don't know. It's in my head. I can't do it. Dracul starts with Bram as a little boy, and they live in Ireland, and he's very sickly. He is like always catching colds, almost has a heart issue, in bed 90% of his life. He has siblings, and they're always coming up and talking to him, and he tells stories, and there's a mom and a dad that are very good people, but they bring on a nanny, Ellen. And Ellen Crone is the nanny. And Ellen comes to help take care of Bram because he's so sickly and mom needs to get other things done in life. Well, we're talking like early 1800s-ish, so mid 1800s probably. She is very odd. She's very sweet. She tells great stories, but Ellen becomes the central figure along with Bram in this book. As Bram has this one particularly horrible night of being very, very sick, they bring in a doctor who is an uncle, and he wants to bleed him. He wants to put leeches on him and do all this stuff. And Ellen's like, get out. I can handle this. And she throws everybody out, and she takes care of Bram. You don't know what happens to a point. But magically, Bram becomes this very strong, independent young man who all of a sudden can run races and outrun everybody, and very good looking and very smart. And I mean, everything a young man should be, Bram becomes. But there's a weird connection between Bram and Ellen going forward. And every time Bram becomes a little sick, Ellen is always the one that takes care of him. And as he grows, they start finding other things in the community that happen that are a little odd and weird, and the kids start talking to each other and asking questions, and they start looking at Ellen a little differently. Like, she disappears at night. She never wants us to see this. She doesn't have a mirror. Like, there's all these weird little things, and then she disappears. And the kids grow up. The brother becomes a doctor. The sister just kind of travels, and I think it's artwork, but I can't remember if it's art. She travels. Bram goes to college, becomes very successful, but Ellen always draws him back. And he ends up, the story is actually him in a tower when it starts off, and he's got holy water, a cross.
Yes, that's right.
And rose petals. Yes. And he's fighting off something that's trying to get under the door. So you're getting this perspective of the past with him remembering and telling it and talking about it. And then it all concludes with him back in that tower fighting whatever it is that he's fighting. So this is a dark story. It is so well written.
Spooky. Like this is scary on the spooky.
Scary. I have read it more than once. I loved it that much, but I still get scared every time I read it, and I know what's happening. And my husband even laughs at me. He's like, because the first time I read it, I was reading it at night in bed, and he's like, "What were you dreaming about last night?" And I'm like, "You don't even want to know."
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "Why are you reading this then?" And I'm like, "It's so I
Yeah.
But it is a spooky read. And I mean a very scary read. And I loved it. I absolutely loved every minute of this book. And I know I've read it at least twice, maybe 3 times.
This was also one that was a box pick.
It was.
For the store.
Yeah. And when we did the boxes and your mom was like, "Oh, you've already read this." I'm like, "That's okay. I don't own a copy and now I do, and I'm excited."
It was good.
It was really good. And I highly recommend it to anybody who likes Dracula or has read The Historian or likes that kind of scare, because it is a scary book. I would never tell a child or a young person to read it.
No.
So you have to know your level of scary that you can handle. And you guys are probably going to read it and be like, "That was nothing," but this to me was scary.
Yeah,
like,
it's
scary.
It's dark, certainly. Yeah.
But it's so well told.
Yeah, and it's got that great feel of a classic.
Yes, it does. Because I think the time frame, because it goes back before Dracula was written to tell you why he may have written the story of Dracula. And it's not like Dracula. It has nothing to do with that lore that Dracula is about.
Right.
It's a totally different
And there's
side.
something about there are family documents, like there are Stoker family documents that like really exist.
Yes.
And this might be in the author's note at the end,
Yes.
and it's like they'll never see the light of the day or something like that, or they've been totally redacted.
Yes.
There is like a serious mystery around this.
Yes. And that's why I say it's based on true story, because I'll leave that up to you when you read it, whether you believe that this actually happened or not. But because of those documents and the fact that it was based on his journals, supposedly, you're like, I'm a true believer. There's Dracula out there. How could you not after you read this?
Yeah.
But it's a really good book. It's very scary. I highly recommend it if you like a classic feel scary. But you have to be known you're going to be scared.
Yeah. Read with the lights on.
Yeah. So from the historian of academia to Hester historical fiction to romance to scurry. I mean, scary.
Yeah.
So
my next one is also scary. It was Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman, who's also the author of Bird Box that they made into a movie with Sandra Bullock. Yeah. And I read Bird Box and I did enjoy that several years ago. But Incidents Around the House is his newest, and it is scary. So it's told from the perspective of an 8-year-old little girl, and it's a stream of consciousness tell. So it is super pacey, and it's this little girl, and she's an only child, and she is being. At first, you're like, "Oh, is this like an imaginary friend or something?" But in the first chapter, you remember this story?
Yes.
She is being pursued by this entity that calls itself Other Mommy, and Other Mommy, it gives me chills. Other Mommy is always asking her, "Can I come into your heart?" And there is something downright just speaking about this is chilling.
Yeah, I got chills.
And Other Mommy has lank hair and stinks. And so the girl will be she can tell when Other Mommy's near or is coming because it smells weird. And so it starts off where you're thinking, this is an imaginary friend. And very quickly you're like, this is not an imaginary friend. And it's the journey of her and her parents trying to figure out what to do. And it's for me, I felt like it was very heavy because at the time I read it, I had an 8-year-old little girl, and it was really well done, really super well done. And some of the scenes were so visual. I can think of one right now. And I remember where I was reading it on the treadmill. And so there I was walking with my book, and I was looking over your shoulder. Yeah. And I knew I was alone, but was I alone? And so it's just but it was really well done. Great if you're looking for a spooky read. It is heavy. It's really heavy.
Is it in the vein of Poltergeist?
And
I say that the little girl seeing the thing and knowing it's there, not necessarily the over a burial site, but
yeah. I mean, in the sense that it's a young
Mhm,
girl
yeah.
as the main character, but soon the family does come to see like something is
Oh, okay.
going on. So, you know,
Okay.
do with that what you will.
All
But
right.
yeah, Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. Read with the lights on, read with caution.
You're back against the wall.
Yeah.
Kind of like the first
Read-
time I watched Psycho, sitting on the couch as far as to the wall as I could get. Like,
Oh my gosh, read holding someone's hand, you know.
there you go.
Yeah. Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman is probably, in my opinion, like the scariest book we'll talk about today. That and like then you probably have like Dracul.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch gears so you don't get scared at home. We're going to historical fiction.
Yes.
Jeanna.
Yes. So The Heretic's Daughter by Kathleen Kent. And we're back to Salem. We're really in the Salem witch trials this time, not just after, before, or near. We're in it. This Kathleen Kent's ancestor is Martha Carrier, and she was one of the first women to be accused in Salem and tried and hanged in 1692 Salem. So this is a historical fiction that is truly like based on a real thing. So that's what drew us in for this book. And I think we did this as a historical fiction as well. Yeah. So Sarah Carrier is the daughter of Martha. And you get a lot of the story told through Sarah's eyes in this book. And it's a coming of age of a young girl in the Salem witch trial era. And she's watching her mom be accused of all these things. And she's also, there's a sickness that goes through town and her family gets sick. And so she goes to live with an aunt and uncle for a short term. And her mom is not hard, but her mom is very, we have to do this. We have to do this. We have to do this today. We need to wash these clothes. And so she kind of misses the lovey touch. So when she goes to live with the aunt and uncle are kind of light and happy and singing. And there's a poppet that's made that may have some...
Nothing good ever came from a poppet.
And so the cousin's a little odd. The uncle tells these stories that maybe he can tell the future. Like, there's all these things that happen that make it fun, but she doesn't understand what's happening in the big picture. So then when she goes back to her family, life becomes even more hard and more dreary with her parents. But then mom knows herbs. She's not an apothecary, but she knows herbs, and she's common sense, smart, and she takes care of people's animals and other people in the town when they get sick. Dad is this big, strong, strapping guy who, when they came from England, had some role in the army in England around the king. So there's a mystery there nobody talks about. But there's this red book, a red leather bound book that has all the family's secrets in it. And Martha tells Sarah that when you're big enough and old enough to understand everything, you'll read this and you'll get everything you need to know about what we're about. Well, Sarah just thinks this is a bunch of crap. Like, she doesn't understand what's going on. Like, what? You know, what are you, nuts? They bury this book. Does that make it any more spooky?
Yeah.
They bury this book. It is so well told. It's heavy. It is not a light-hearted story, but it is really well written, and I loved every minute of this story. I thought the characters were well done. I felt really sorry for Sarah because she carried a lot. It's not a happy book. It's a good book, and it's a very historical book, and it has that feel to it. And the whole book is you picturing it in that gray lens. Like, there's never sunshine. There's never happy flowers. There's just like, you just know it's dread through the whole time.
And even if you look at the cover, and it's that girl's face in like all muted beige tones, and she's like,
with her little cap, like the Puritan cap of like, like, I'm in misery.
This is one that I remember I read maybe in like high school. Like, I read it a long time ago.
Okay.
And I don't remember anything about it, but now I'm like, I should go back and reread that.
I think you'll like it if you like history and you want a feel of spooky, or you want a feel of autumn and fall and that Salem witch trial without being gory or scary.
Right.
So
yeah, agreed. Our last spooky pick is Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts, which great title. Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts by Kate Racculia. And it is a very light, quirky kind of story of finding yourself, found family, and all kinds of fun things like that. So it takes place in Boston, and Tuesday Mooney is kind of a loner, and she doesn't really have many friends. She's a little awkward. She spends all of her time in her apartment watching like the X-Files and Twin Peaks, which we can't blame her for, watching the X-Files nonstop. But so she works for, if I'm correct, like a hospital or something like that, and in administration or something like that. And in Boston, Vincent Price dies, and he has a fortune, and he's like, whoever can solve the clues to this like scavenger hunt, treasure hunt, gets my fortune. And the scavenger hunt is like based around Edgar Allan Poe. And so it's so fun. It's got riddles and like clues and things like that. So you have Tuesday teaming up with like a friend, and you get kind of a ragtag, mishmash group of people, and people across the city are looking, obviously, to like solve this. And it just turns into this like kind of chaotic hunt for the treasure. And it was really good. It's a very like fun, warm story, like I said, of found family. And I remember really enjoying this one. It's been several years since I read it, but it's a good, lighter, ghosty story. So I really enjoyed Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts. I think that's a good one to kind of like cap our, time. A few other ones that we didn't get to discuss because we are running out of time. The store's going to open, and so we got to wrap this up. I was going to say The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. That's a really good coming of age, 1980s, really bittersweet, heartwarming story. I really enjoyed that one. What else? What were you going to do?
The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Yeah. But it's Grady Hendrix. It is so good. It is hilarious. It is gory. It is weird. It's set in like the 90s, so it had a feel like the early 90s. That was my era. So I remember a lot of that, but there were times I literally laughed out loud. Yeah. I mean, laughed out loud. And then there were times that it was so gory. So it has a range, but it is really well done, and he does a great job telling the story.
All of his books are kind of like that. You know, if you're looking for something spooky, there's quite a range. Yes. From Grady Hendrix. Like they are pretty heartfelt.
Yes, they are. They really are.
But there's probably also something in there that's relatively gruesome, and you're like, oh. And
My Best Friend's Exorcism.
I didn't read that one.
I have it. I haven't read it yet. But I hear that is also a very heartfelt book, and it's highly recommended. If you follow any other YouTubers, that's always one of the top ones for the scary season.
Yeah, that one. How to Sell a Haunted House. That one was creepy.
There's always a good Riley Sager one or two that's out there for this time of year too. So, and you can't go wrong with classics like Frankenstein or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So
we could do a whole episode on spooky classics.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're looking for a good spooky book, we gave you a few.
Try some of these and let us know what you think.
I would like to know what you guys like this time of year. Do you seasonally read?
Yeah.
I mean, is that something that you do? I do. I mean, I always have my TBR, but I always try to pick one or two, like if it's Christmas or Halloween or, romancy for Valentine's Day. You never know. Maybe Dracula.
Yeah. I mean,
Valentine's Day.
That's true. I'm going to be there. And I know I won't be alone. The theater will be packed.
So this was a fun romp through some of our favorite books. And as you can probably tell, we may enjoy this way more than we should. So we appreciate you all being here every Friday with us and going along with our crazy bookish thoughts. So thank you for Best in Show Books. I'm Jeanna.
And I'm Shelby.
Have a fabulous spooky day.